Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. Today we are from Group A. We present subtopic 28.3 Diversity among the Spiralians. First, let me introduce you to my group members. Muhammad Adli Shazli bin Muhammad Zaini, Taibah binti Al-Sahib, Nur Aini Syairah binti Domali, Hanzira binti Hazlan, and me, Nur Haziz Raya binti Muhammad Sana Rais. Lophotrochozoa. The name Lophotrochozoa comes from two words, which is lophophore, which means cellular structure of ciliated tentacles around the mouth, and trochozoa, a group of invertebrates. These animals are bilaterally symmetrical during at least one stage of their development and undergo spiral cleavage compared to radical cleavage in other protostomes. As embryos, they have three germ layers. As an adult, they achieve the organ level of organization. Some have true coelom, as exemplified by the annelid worms. Lophotrochozoa can be divided into two groups, which is lophophorous and protozoans. In this figure, we can see the Lophotrochozoa characteristic. On the left side is the lophophore breeding apparatus, and on the right side is the trochophore larva. Next, we will learn about trochozoan. The mollusks are the second most numerous group of animals with over 100 names of species. They inhabit marine, freshwater, and terrestrial habitats. Mollusks share a three-part body plan consisting of vascular mass, mantle, and food. The vascular mass contains the internal organ, including a highly specialized digestive tract, heart, kidney, and reproductive organs. The mantle is a covering that lies on either side, but not completely enclosed with vascular mass. It may secrete the shell and or contribute to development of gills or lungs. The food is a muscular organ that may be adapted from locomotion, attachment, and food capture. As we can see here, this is a body plan of mollusks. Another feature often present in mollusks is a rasping tongue-like radula, an organ that bears many rows of teeth and is used to obtain food. The nervous system of mollusks consists of several ganglia connected by a nerve cord. The true coelom is reduced in mollusks and largely limited to the region around the heart. The heart pumps blood, more properly called hemolymph, through vessels into sinuses, collectively called hemical. Now we move on to bivalves. Clam, oyster, mussels, and scallops are all bivalves with two parts of shell that is hinged and closed by one or two powerful muscles. Bivalves have no head, no radula, and very little capitalization. The circulatory system is open. The ciliated gills hang down on either side of the vascular mass. The beating of cilia causes water to enter the mantle cavity. The gland is a filter filter which captures tiny food particles suspended in water.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. I am Taibah, and now I will be presenting my part of the presentation.
We learned that bivalve is a major class of mollusks. Now, let's take a look at bivalve diversity. The first one is a scallop, plankton species. So as you can see here, the scallop has three parts. The eyes, which are the black dots, the outermost part, which is the shell, and the tentacles on the mantle. The second one is mussels, Mytilus edulis species. So there are growth lines on the shell of a mussel. The third one is a diagram of a clam, Anodontus species. In this diagram, we can see that there are many important organs such as the heart, kidney, intestine, stomach, digestive glands, the mouth, and many more. The heart is located in the reduced column. Next, we will take a look at other mollusks. Another class of mollusks is gastropods. So in biology, gastropods consist of two words. Gastros, which means stomach, and podos, which means food. Gastropods are the largest class of mollusks. Some of the examples of gastropods are slugs, snails, whelks, conch, limpets, and librams. This is a slug. So, gastropods in general have an elongated and flattened foot, and most of them except slugs and nudibranchs, have one piece called shell. They also have well-developed head region with cerebral ganglion and eyes on the ends of tentacles. Now, we will learn about gastropod diversity. As you can see in this picture, this is a flamingo tongue shell Siphoма gibbosum species. There are three parts on the flamingo tongue shell. The front is the stiffen, the bottom is the foot, and these yellow spots are spotted mantle. The next one is a land snail, Helix aspersa species. The two antennas on the head are its eyes, and the bottom is its foot. The shell is in spiral shape and it has growth line on it. This is a picture of a limpet, which is also a gastropod.
For the 3D model, our group has decided on a snail. Snails are examples of gastropods. Here is the model. As you can see, there are many labels on the snail. So, snails in general have many structures, and each structure has their own function and abilities. So, let us go through the structures one by one. So, the most prominent one here is the shell. The shell is a solid spiral-shaped structure carried on the back of the snail. The structure protects the snail from the environment and even from predators. When snails are in danger, they hide in their shell. So, the shell is actually made up of calcium carbonate, which makes it strong and hard. And it will remain hard if the snail continues to consume food with calcium. In the shell also, the shell also has organs inside. There are organs inside the shell. And then, the next one is the foot, which is at the base of the snail. So the foot will produce wave-like motions by muscular contractions, and which will make the snail glide forward. So the foot produces wave-like motions by muscular contractions. So it will be like wave, like that. So it will move in a wave-like motion, and it will make the snail glide forward. The snail will move forward, and the foot also secretes mucus that reduces friction. Now, let us go to the lower tentacle. So, these two structures on the bottom, these two tentacles on the bottom are called the lower tentacles. So, these tentacles here are used to smell. And right above the lower tentacles is the upper tentacle. These two things. The upper tentacles are used for vision. And snails use them to detect changes in light intensity. At the very end of the tentacle is the eye spot. This is the eye spot. And at the bottom of its head is the mouth. Right here, just below the lower tentacle. So, this is the mouth. Let me zoom in real quick. Okay. So, inside the mouth, there are several rows of teeth to help them scrape food. Next, we will look at the breathing pore. So, as you can see, the breathing pore is just a tiny hole which is used for respiration. This long thing at the end is the snail's tail. So that's about it. I've covered all the parts on the snail model. Thank you.
Now, let us learn about cephalopods. So in biology, cephalopods consist of two words. The first word is cephal, which means head. Second word is podos, which means foot. Some of the examples of cephalopods is squids and octopi. Cephalopods in general are head-footed. They can squeeze their mental cavity and force water out of the mental cavity for propulsion. Cephalopods also have well-developed sensory organs. For instance, their eyes are the same as invertebrates and can focus like a camera, meaning that they have very good eyesight. The squid also has a very powerful beak. This is the beak. The beak is used to tear prey apart. They also have tentacles, which are used to capture prey by adhesive secretions or suckers. Did you know that octopuses have very well-developed brains, therefore they are very smart? Octopuses have shown intelligence in a number of ways. They have solved mazes and completed tricky tasks to get food rewards. They can also get in and out of containers. Cephalopod diversity. This picture shows chambered Nautilus balaensis species. This outer part is the shell, and this is the tentacles. This is big fin reef squid, Cephiotutis lesoniana species. This is the eye, and this is its arms and tentacles, which have suckers. Next, we will learn about annelids. Annelids are the only trochozoum with segmentation and a well-developed column. The column is fluid-filled and acts as a hydrostatic skeleton. Annelids also have special digestive tract. They have closed circulatory system. They have ventral solid nerve cord, and most of them are marine. Annelids also have a part called seta. Seta are bristles which help in the movement of the annelids. Oligochaetas are annelids which have few seta. Meanwhile, polychaetas are annelids which have many seta. So, this is a diagram that shows annelids. As you can see, there are many types of species. That is all from me. Now, I will pass the presentation to the next presenter.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Muhammad Shazil bin Mazini. So, I will continue the presentation about one of the example of the annelid, which is the earthworm. So, you may refer to your media textbook, which is on page 515. So, earthworm. So, on an earthworm, the setae protrude in pairs that live from surface body. So, setae means short hair, while protrude means something that is stick out. So, this sentence means a short hair that is stick out in pairs that live from the surface of the body. So, next, earthworm, there is specialized digestive system, which is food is drawn into the mouth by the action of the muscular pharynx. So, the muscular pharynx is act as a vacuum that will vacuum the food from the mouth into the pharynx. So, next, the food then will be stored in the crop and ground out in the gizzard. So, gizzard have two functions, which will secrete the digestive enzyme and ground out the food. So then, the food will be go into the long internal intestine, where the food will be digested and absorbed. So the long internal intestine of the earthworm, there it will form a loop, the loop called tryptosol, which will increase the surface area for the absorption. So then, the food waste is eliminated through the anus. We will move on to the next slide, which is earthworm segmentation. So earthworm segmentation is evidenced by the body rings. You can see over here, diagram here. So the coelom is divided by septa. So coelom is a fluid in the earthworm body, but the septa is a large flaps of skin which separate each coelom. So setae is arranged in pairs on segments, and the ganglionic swelling and lateral nerve in each segment, which is the long ventral nerve cord that lead from the brain. Next is nephridia in each segment. So nephridia is a Greek word which is mean nephros. Nephros, which is mean kidney. Nephridia is a kidney basically. So lastly, the branch blood vessel in each segment. So we move on to the earthworm reproduction. So the earthworm reproduction process called hermaphrodite. So the process is when the two worms lie in parallel to each other, facing in opposite direction. So both of the worms will fuse in body segment, which is called clitellum, which will secrete the mucus and protecting sperm from desiccation. So clitellum also produce slime tube, which will become the cocoon. So in the cocoon, there is a fertilized egg in the cocoon. So on the earthworm reproduction, there is no larva stage. Other annelids. Most annelids are marine polychaetes. Setae are in bundles on parapodia. When worms, like nereis, are predators. They have sex organ during the breeding season. So one of the example of the other annelids is leeches. So leeches are usually found in freshwater habitats. They have the same body plan as other annelids, which is same just like the earthworm just now, but they have no setae. Each body ring has several transverse grooves, and leeches have two additional suckers. So the last characteristic of the leeches are leeches can keep blood flowing and prevent clotting by means of hyoidine. So what is hyoidine? Hyoidine is a powerful anticoagulant in their saliva.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. So I'm Ainul. I would like to present about flatworms. So to look more details, let's see this video. As you guys can see, flatworms have various of colors and sizes. Flatworms also have no specialized circulatory and respiratory structures, and its set body plan with one opening and no body cavity. Its mean lack a flat-filled cavity between the body wall and the digestive tract. Commonly possess a simple digestive tract only. Next is Spiralian digestive system. So let's see this video to look more details and clear. So Spiralians have an eye spot and pharynx through mouth. The pharynx function is for Spiralian to sucking the food. Next is planarian characteristic, which is dysplasia. It lives in freshwater habitats and had bluntly arrow shapes, and it uses ladder type nervous system because of the nerves connecting the nerve cords. So for this part is a little bit scared. So let's see. Okay, no worries, it doesn't hurt at all. Okay, it have three kind of muscle layer. First, outer circular layer. Second, inner longitude layer. And third, diagonal layer. Then, parasitic flatworms, which is frogs and tapeworms. It called parasitic flatworms because it can parasitize human, animal, or both. And it's a major about human disease caused by 3 species of genus. And one of them is Scytotosma, known collective as blood flax. So fleas have 2 types, first skin fleas and second gill fleas. For gill fleas, it have 4 spots, we can see in this video. So that's all from me. I will pass my presentation about tapeworms and others to Hazira. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. So today I will continue the presentation about tapeworms. So tapeworms, they have anterior region with modifications for attachment to intestinal wall of host. So tapeworms, they have a highly modified head region called scolex, and then a long series of proglottids can be found that contain a full set of both male and female sex organs. So this is the scolex and this is the proglottids. Next, most tapeworms have complicated life cycles which usually involve several hosts. For example, Taenia solia, the pork tapeworm, has the human as a primary host and the pig as a secondary host. And then the cyst contains the tapeworm larva, which lodges in muscle. And tapeworms will interfere with nutrient absorption. So this is about life cycle of the tapeworm Taenia. First of all, primary host will ingest meat containing bladder worms. And then bladder worms will attach to human intestine where it matches into a tapeworm. Next, as the tapeworm grows, proglottids will mature and eventually fill with eggs. This is the proglottid, it will fill with eggs. And then the eggs will give the primary host in feces, which may contaminate water or vegetation. And then livestock may ingest the eggs, becoming a secondary host as each larva becomes a bladder worm encysted in muscle. And then rare or uncooked meat from secondary hosts will contain many bladder worms. So humans will become infected with tapeworms when they eat infected meat that has not been truly cooked. So after the tainted meat is eaten, the bladder worms will break out of the cyst and attach themselves to the intestinal wall and grow to adulthood. Then the cycle will begin again. Generally, tapeworms infections will cause diarrhea, weight loss, and fatigue in primary hosts. Next, this is about rotifers or phylum Rotifera. So rotifers is a platyzoans related to the flatworms. It is named for crown of cilia, or known as the corona, resembling a rotating wheel. The corona serves as both an organ of locomotion and aids direction of food to mouth. There is approximately 2,000 species primarily live in freshwater. However, there is also some marine and terrestrial form exist. The majority of rotifers are transparent, but some are very colorful. So this is the structure of rotifer. As you can see, this is the corona that I mentioned before, which looks like a rotating wheel. And other part of the rotifer as well. So we have come to the summary. In Spiralia, it can be divided into Laphotrochozoan and Platyzoan. In Laphotrochozoan, we can divide it into Laphophorans and also Trochozoans. Under Laphophorans, there is Bryozoans, Brachiopods, and also Phoronids. And under Trochozoans, there is mollusks and also annelids. So for Platyzoans, we can divide it into flatworms and also rotifers. Under flatworms, there is free living flatworms and also parasitic flatworms. And under parasitic flatworms, there is flukes and also tapeworms. So this is the references, and that's all from our group. Thank you.